Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right into an absolutely wild story today, the sudden, dramatic shift in the U.S. government's stance on AI powerhouse Anthropic. Over the course of just a few days, we watched this massive tech company transform in the eyes of the administration from a designated national security threat into a cooperative partner. It's a fascinating, real-time case study in what happens when cutting-edge tech collides with federal bureaucracy and high-stakes diplomacy. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's look at the hook that caught everyone by surprise. In a pre-taped interview with Axios, President Trump was asked point-blank if Anthropic is a national security threat. After a solid 3 months of intense government crackdowns, he completely reversed course, saying, well, not now, but a week ago, maybe. To go from a severe security risk to basically entirely in the clear over the span of 7 days, that is practically unheard of in federal policy.
Section 1. A sudden reversal. We really need to look at what exactly shifted in this single week to prompt such a drastic political 180.
That Axios interview completely flipped the script. The president openly stated that Anthropic has behaved very responsibly, which effectively wipes away that national security threat label. But honestly, the most revealing part is that the administration acknowledged the intense crackdown on Anthropic was actually creating a tremendous liability. That is a huge tell. It strongly implies the backlash from both the tech industry and allied nations was turning into a major political headache. And of course, adding that they definitively won't shut the company down gave the entire market a massive, immediate sigh of relief.
Section 2. The escalating feud. To truly grasp how crazy this reversal is, we have to look back at the origins of this bitter dispute from March to June of 2026.
The speed of this escalation was breathtaking. March 2026, the Pentagon drops the hammer and officially designates Anthropic a supply chain risk. Fast forward to the spring, and the heat gets turned way up. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick literally threatens the company with criminal charges. It got so tense that allied governments, like the UK, actually started lobbying Washington just to get exemptions. And that all boils over on June 12th. The Commerce Department issues a sweeping directive ordering Anthropic to get U.S. government approval before any foreign nationals can even access their most powerful AI models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5.
So what was the actual spark for this whole mess? It came down to one specific thing: AI guardrails. These are the built-in safety limits designed to prevent AI misuse. Anthropic drew a hard line in the sand. They absolutely refused to strip away their safety guardrails regarding mass surveillance and autonomous weapons for products used by the U.S. military. The Pentagon basically wanted unrestricted access to the AI's capabilities, and Anthropic flat-out refused to alter their internal safety protocols to give it to them. That ideological clash was the match that lit the fire.
But as we see time and time again in the tech world, ideological standoffs eventually crash into practical financial realities. Section 3. The trillion-dollar catalyst.
According to Fortune, Anthropic had confidentially filed for an initial public offering in early June. The valuation? $965 billion. Just take a second to process that number. That is nearly $1 trillion. An IPO of this magnitude isn't just a big deal for the company, it's a market-defining event that sends shockwaves through the entire global economy.
So, you gotta wonder, did a $965 billion IPO drive this sudden diplomatic push? You can't exactly execute $1 trillion public offering while the Pentagon is calling you a supply chain risk and the Commerce Department is threatening your executives with criminal charges. The timing of Anthropic's massive push to resolve this crisis lines up perfectly with their need to stabilize their market position right before going public.
Section 4. The G7 turning point.
Let's move over to the diplomatic stage to see exactly how this de-escalation played out.
Anthropic's leadership basically pulled off a masterclass in tech diplomacy here. Step 1. Earlier in the week, they send in senior technical staff for groundwork discussions with the administration. Step 2 is where it gets brilliant. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei teams up with Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis, and together they pitch G7 leaders on a US-led AI coalition. Think about what that framing does. It instantly pivots Anthropic from being a regulatory headache for the US government into an essential cooperative ally for American tech dominance. And that genius strategic framing leads straight to Step 3. Amodei scores a highly coveted direct meeting with the president on Wednesday.
And coming out of that G7 meeting, the vibe had totally changed. When asked if he would roll back those heavy restrictions on Anthropic's advanced models, the president said, "I would, but I'm not sure I have to do that." That is an incredibly clear public signal of de-escalation coming right from the very top.
But before we declare this completely resolved, we have to draw a really important line. Section 5. Words versus policy. The bureaucratic reality.
There is a massive, massive disconnect here. On the political side, Anthropic just scored a huge win. They've got a public willingness to negotiate, warm words from the highest office, and a clear de-escalation signal. But down in the bureaucratic trenches, the reality is entirely different. The Pentagon's supply chain designation is still sitting right there on the books. That severe June 12th Commerce Department order restricting foreign access, still active. And most importantly, there have been zero public changes to the AI guardrails that started this whole fight in the first place. The Commerce Department operates with a lot of independence, and making formal directives vanish takes a mountain of paperwork and legal wrangling.
So here is the big takeaway. Rolling back a formal federal directive takes complex bureaucratic maneuvering that a single interview just can't magically shortcut. Anthropic played the political game flawlessly to save the optics of their IPO, but the legal chains are still wrapped tightly around their most powerful AI models. Will the administration actually push through the paperwork to set them free, or was this just a temporary PR ceasefire in a much larger war over the future of AI in the military? That is the almost trillion-dollar question. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we will definitely be keeping a close eye on what happens next.